Here comes the next step. Step number 4. It's the transition into life insurance. In this step, we help the client understand the importance of what we do and what it can do for them. Here's a side note though. Typically, if an agent's closing ratio isn't over 50%, it's because you are winging this step and asking the senior before you even start the step, who do you have for your life insurance, without educating them first. Our goal is to build urgency and doubt. Urgency to secure the right policy and doubt about whether their current policy is sufficient or even cost effective. This pushes our potential clients to seriously considering what their options might be. You see, this segment in step number 4, it uses 6 slides. That's right, 6, each with a clear purpose. These slides guide clients to understand the importance of having the correct type of life insurance with the most value. So let's uncover slide number 1. So slide number 1, this is the first slide as it isolates the conversation so we narrow down the scope to life insurance and final expenses, because this is really the last thing that we do. And it also is the most important thing. How about slide number 2? So this page or slide in your presentation, this is the other providers. We do a lot of work with almost all of the 800 plus life insurance providers across the nation. We never, ever, ever bad talk any of those providers, but we let them know, hey, we do a lot of work with these folks. And how about slide number 3? These are the top rated providers, AKA the NASB providers. And you always want to say this in my opinion, as we specialize in peace of mind and security with these special providers, because that's exactly what you want, right, Ms. Johnson? Peace of mind and security when it comes to your final expenses. How about slide number 4? This is the educational piece when it comes to step number 4, where we separate term, whole, and universal life. You guys got to keep it simple here. Remember, what matters more is not who you have your life insurance with, but what type of life insurance you have. You typically want to say 3 things about each type of insurance. Have your green highlighter ready to circle whole life. Elevate your tone when talking about the dangers of term and flexible premium adjustable life insurance. End this slide with a power question. Now, Ms. Johnson, which do you think is the best type of insurance to have? How about slide number 5? This is the category page. We're gonna find out what category Ms. Johnson's going to fall into. Is it the wrong type? Maybe you're still paying on your life insurance. Maybe you're paying too much. Or the third category is you don't have enough coverage or not enough, or you don't have any at all. Which category do you feel represents your situation, Ms. Johnson? Now, how about slide number 6? This is the action page. This gives them an action step to take in getting their policy, as long as you create enough reason to do so. You see, you begin with the directive, this is what we're gonna do next. Then you go into what you will uncover for them as far as maybe some entitlements, free insurance, cash back, reduced paid up, discounts, riders, all these things that you might be entitled to, Ms. Johnson. So, lastly, give a directive at this step. You're the expert. You tell them what to do. Ms. Johnson, go grab your policy. Locate on page 3, we're gonna find out what you're entitled to. Because honestly, maximizing her policy is exactly where you need to start. Next up, you had mentioned another benefit that you said was final expense. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, excellent. And again, you don't have to take any notes. I'm gonna leave all this information with you. So this is actually the last thing that we do. It's the most important thing that we do. It's what we specialize in, and it's also what you requested the most help with. And that's when it comes to your state-regulated final expense programs. So again, just like I showed you before, here's my state license. And this gives me the ability to really kind of show you, hey, as a broker, we work with about 876 life insurance providers. So we work with all of them. I'm sure that you could probably see some of these right here that you might have seen through the TV or seen through commercials. Is that right?
True.
Absolutely. And also here's all the top rated providers. Any of these ring a bell? I'm sure Mutual of Omaha, Americo, Transamerica.
I've seen them, yep. Aflac, yeah.
Absolutely. Rural Neighbors, really great. These are the top rated providers, in my opinion, that actually really specialize in that peace of mind and security when it comes to life insurance. And you know what, Bob? What's more important than who you have your life insurance with is what type of life insurance you have. Because you always want to make sure that you have the one that's always going to pay out when you need it, right? Absolutely. So it boils down to 3 types of final expense. And I'm just going to scoot just a wee bit closer to you so you kind of can see this, okay? And there's 3 types of final expense. You've got term, whole, and universal.
Now term, this is like a loaf of bread. It's going to expire on you. They have a 2% chance of physically paying out because you might outlive that term when you really need it the most. These are carriers like Colonial Penn, Globe, ARP, just to name a few. Doesn't feel good when you have a 98% chance of that sucker not paying out, right? You really don't want that kind of insecurity when it comes to 50s, 60s, and 70s as you age. The second type of final expense is whole life. Do you see any stop signs here?
No.
Absolutely, I don't either. So whole life, this is the one that most seniors your age have. These are carriers like Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, Rural Neighbors, just to name a few that specialize in that security because you're gonna build that cash value and you can borrow from it if you want to. But the cool thing is that it's going to always be there. It's 100% guaranteed to pay out no matter when you die, no matter how you die, right? So that's the one that's gonna be permanent forever. Now, the third type of final expense is universal life. Now, universal life is a little scary, a little bit dangerous if you don't know a lot about it. And so universal life can almost look like a whole life had a term life baby. What does that mean? Well, you see that stop sign right there? Absolutely. So this stop sign right here, when you need it the most, it probably will be terminating on you. So with universal life, if you get an annual statement once a year, more than likely you have what's called flexible premium adjustable life insurance, aka universal life. Potentially, sometimes MetLife, Bankers Life, Lincoln Heritage, a lot of those carriers really specialize in that universal life. It's really more geared towards retirement, for you to have that in retirement, surrender it for the cash value, and then put that into an annuity, okay? That's what most people do. So which of these, when it comes to peace of mind and security, which one do you think the best one is to have?
I don't know. Whole life seems pretty reasonable.
Hey, I would have said the exact same thing because I want that peace of mind and security as well. So it kind of boils down to three categories of people. So Bob, you tell me what category you fall into. Category one is the person that says, you know what? I think I might have an annual statement that I get once a year. I might have the wrong type of insurance. Or I remember maybe thinking it was a term policy. The second category is a person says, hey, if I've had my insurance for more than 2 years, I might be overspending when it comes to my life insurance. So I'm definitely the person that might be category number two, because maybe you might be entitled to some free insurance. The third category is a person says, I don't have enough coverage or I don't have any at all. Now, Bob, with what you have currently right now that you're paying on, which category do you feel like you might fall into?
Go over those again.
Category one, the wrong type of insurance, where maybe you have term or universal. If you have an annual statement, then you might be falling into category one. Category two says that, hey, maybe you have whole life insurance, but you might be potentially overspending, paying way too much. If you've had your policy for more than 2 years, you might be spending a lot of premium. And why is that? Because you might have some free insurance. It's also known as reduced paid up. And category three is the person says, I don't have any insurance whatsoever, or I don't have enough.
Believe I have whole life.
Oh,
All right,
cool.
Category two. Right.
Okay, so do you feel like you're paying too much on that premium then?
I always feel like I'm paying too much for everything.
I know, especially. Have your premiums gone up any?
They've not gone up that I can tell.
Okay, good to hear. Well, this is what we're going to do next, Bob, is we're going to make sure that your policy will never expire. So that way you can have that peace of mind. We're going to also make sure that your premium won't increase either, because that's huge. We don't want your policy to expire. We don't want that death benefit to stop. We're also going to check and make sure you might be entitled to some free insurance, discounts, maybe some cash back, upgrades, maybe even some riders in there. So what I need you to do is locate on page 3, go grab that life insurance policy, and we'll go ahead and check on page 3 what you're working with, okay?
Sure.
Excellent.